where Nigerian students protesting the prolonged strike action of the Academic Staff Union of Universities have demonstrated at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport in Ikeja, Lagos.
Well, the students held banners bearing inscriptions such as "No nation can develop without genuine commitment to education," and some flights were affected and traffic and gridlock, was actually experienced around the airport.
Well, clearly, for more on that case, or rather that scenario in Lagos airport today, we have with us the Southern Kaduna, the arrow there, we have with us the NANS president here to discuss or to shed more light on the issue that took place in Lagos today. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight tonight.
Thank you.
Now, Claire, just moving on to the scenario that played out here today, Usman Barambu. I find this really interesting. Just listening, to most of the voices that came through from that report earlier. They did describe the protest in Ibadan as successful, right? Which also, will I say, informed or energized that movement to do what happened in Lagos. So when you talk about success, can you just talk us through what you achieved with what played out in Ibadan? Did you get any feedback from the government? Do you think your voices were heard? Or is the tactics just to disrupt, normalcy, just to draw attention to your cause?
Well, thank you very much. To us, we don't categorize achievement on that level.
Okay.
Now, all what we are saying is we want to go back to class. That is the main issue. All what we are doing is for us to go back to class. Now, look at what happened. I think on Friday, the president makes some statement about the ASUU. It's an achievement. We met with ASUU president and his executives. We equally met with the labor minister, but the minister of education is not in the country. Of course, we met with the NLC, and we met with a lot of people. All what we are saying is we want to go back to class. Because look at what is happening. We, the students, are always at the receiving end.
Right.
Now, if they call up the strike now, you will go back and start facing issue of landlord and tenant. You have paid for a year, now it's almost 8 months now. You will start issue of registration again. Those that are doing second semester will quickly round up and go for another session, which is very, very bad. But this time around, we are going to take it in another direction. We have engaged the minister, equally the ASUU president, and our terms are clear. Both the parties should shift grounds. There are things that the government cannot accommodate now. There are things that the government must accommodate it.
What would those specific things be? And it's quite interesting because I was actually going to ask you, what would be your message to ASUU and the federal government? And really, this protest, against who? Is it against the federal government or against ASUU? So what are those aspects that you think federal government should or must address now, even before ASUU can go back to the classroom?
Just before you respond to that, just in the same light, I know members of your association have also said that even if the government increases salaries right now, of the lecturers, they're asking them also not to shift until other terms and conditions, especially as it concerns the university itself, the infrastructure and every other thing is addressed. Are you all speaking with one voice, or at this point are you saying there should be a compromise?
No. Now look at what is happening. Issue of infrastructure, we have the third form.
Okay.
Initially, the FG and ASUU agreed on 200 billion revitalization fee, but now the FG are paying 360 billion each year. So I think with what the third fund, UBEC and Co are doing, we're a little bit satisfied with that aspect. But there is one thing I want to tell the whole country, that we as organization doesn't know what ASUU and FG are discussing. Because whenever we make a move that, okay, we want to be part of the negotiation, ASUU will say no, FG will say no.
Right.
So we don't know what they are discussing for the past, let's say maybe 20 years. We don't know what's going on. But we have placed a request, both the ASUU and the FG, that we want to know what is going on, so that at least we'll be part of the negotiation, not to negotiate, but to observe. So that if there is any problem, we will know that it is from the FG side or from the ASUU side. But as it is, it's just a blind negotiation as far as we were concerned.
So in spite of the fact that you're not at the table during the meetings between the FG and ASUU, after they are done with the meetings, do you have any kind of face-to-face with ASUU, or I mean either party?
That's what I said to you. On Saturday, we met with the ASUU president and the ESCOs.
Great.
And of course today we met with the Minister of Labour and his team. And there is a headway. Though I know you are aware, all of them are in court now, industrial court. With the judgment is going to come up, I think, on Wednesday. I'm
happy you even talk about that court case. I would like you to react to the Labour Minister Chris Ngige's statement that the federal government did not even take ASUU to court over the strike, but only referred the issue to the National Industrial Court after talks failed. What do you make of that statement?
Now, throughout the court issues, we are there, me and my team and the ESCOs. And just like what he said, what they are saying is, okay, we couldn't reach agreement. Let the court decide. That is what they said.
Right.
You understand? Now, and that is what is supposed to be done. For example, a 7 month, me and you couldn't reach agreement. The next thing is maybe the legal.
Now we hear that Imo State University has, that Imo State University has actually pulled out of the ASUU strike. They're going back to the
it's not only Imo State University.
Is it an indication that ASUU may be losing sympathy? What are the implications of that really going forward?
Now look at it. State-owned higher institutions, that's the state universities, just like say Imo State University. We have Gombe State University. We have a lot of universities that are pulling out gradually. Why? Because they have overstayed. There are things that's why I said to the president of ASUU that please shift ground small.
Which is why I want to take you back to that statement before I was interrupted about you talking about shifting grounds. Now, you had a meeting with ASUU, you had a meeting with the minister as well. Yes. You also did mention that, in most cases, or even now, you're not very clear on what the agitations have been or the terms on the table, but you've also said we have to come to a compromise. How optimistic are you about the meetings you've had with these two players? What are they telling you at this point?
Okay, I think we'll address media on that. Because we are just finishing meeting with the Minister of Labour.
You're in the station right now.
So yes.
You're already in the media. I mean, use the opportunity to do that.
There are things that after hearing the ASUU and the FG, we'll go back as an executive, then discuss it and take our stand, and we'll release it out for everybody to say, okay, this is what is happening. So
in the coming days, NANS will be issuing a statement on this particular issue.
Okay, that's interesting to note. Now that, why even choose the airports to make this point? I mean, this protest, that's where we started from. The protest at the Lagos airport. Why the airport? What exactly do you hope to achieve with that, and how long do you plan to carry out this protest?
You don't see that as a national security threat?
Exactly.
Now look at what is happening. If you look at it, in our organization, most of the times we don't go direct to the airport. Now, we started with the zonal zone. We have 6 geopolitical zones according to our constitution, now zone A to F. Now, zone D, which is the southwest, have started their own. Next is zone E, which is the northeast. Next will be zone B, the south-south. But look at what is happening. We didn't go direct to the airport. We started highways before reaching the airport. Now, all what we are saying is we want to go back to class. That is the issue.
Okay, just before you go, don't you fear this is going to be hijacked? That's one of the reasons why Kwara State Army is also not joining this.
We are organized. We are organized. You can't join without your ID card as a student. And we have leadership. My Vice President, External Affairs is from the zone. My PRO is from the zone. Deputy Senate President is from the zone. And of course, the zonal structure, coupled with the zonal stakeholders leadership. If they said A, as far as you are a student of that particular zone, you must abide by it.
So are you saying NANS has the capacity to ensure that this is not hijacked?
Of course.
That is a threat to national
How many
security?
days we have been doing this in that zone?
Okay.
Right.
They can hijack it if we are not organized.
Great. That's good to know. Another pointer to the fact that maybe the youth are ready to take the reins. NANS President Usman Umar Barambu is president, of course, of the National Association of Nigerian Students. Thank you so much for joining us on News.